It was an exciting season opener in Bahrain, but just 1 week on, we are already looking ahead to the second race of the season at the Jeddah Corniche circuit in Saudi Arabia. So, I'm Bradley from RaceBeacon, and these are the 5 things that you should be looking out for this weekend. Mercedes Woes. Well, the first race of the season in Bahrain was a real struggle for the Silver Arrows. The time lost due to having to resolve the issues of porpoising will not be regained any time before probably round 4 in Imola at the earliest. Part of Mercedes' solution to the porpoising is to raise the ride height of the car. This move is necessary to make the car drivable, basically. But it will also decrease downforce through those very fast corners, which, at the Jeddah track, I think it's fair to say there's quite a few of those. For Mercedes, and look, yes, they were able to almost luck into a P3 and P4 finish in Bahrain, but to be brutally honest, repeating that feat in Jeddah would be pretty impressive. There's a real chance that we could see them even more off the pace than what we saw in Bahrain. But I think on balance, this could end up probably being their worst race of the season. I think from here, it's only up. The track changes. The Saudi circuit has seen some slight alterations since its 2021 debut just 4 months ago. A lot of these are very minor, for example turns 2 and 3. The left hand side barriers have been moved back to improve visibility through from turn 2 to turn 4. We also have a smooth face being added to the concrete barriers at the turn 4 apex. This is to stop any aggressive jolts and allows drivers to rub up against them a little bit without damaging the car too much. At the turn 14 apex, the barriers have been moved back by approximately 1.5 metres to improve visibility. This isn't changing the track limits, this is just moving the barriers. This is mostly to ensure that drivers can see with a lot more warning if there's a slow driver, let's say offline or even online coming up. And overall it just gives them more time to take evasive action. At the turn 16 apex, there's again a bit of smooth face added to the concrete barriers. This is again to allow a little bit more rubbing without very serious damage occurring to the cars. Then something a little bit more interesting, again, turn 21 apex, the barriers have been moved back approximately 1.5 metres to improve visibility, so that's exactly the same story before. Turn 22 apex, a smooth face has been added to concrete barriers, and same story with turn 24 apex as well. But at the exit of turn 27, which is that famous final corner that Max Verstappen was not quite able to negotiate on what was so nearly a pole lap, the walls have been extended by 1.5 metres at the corner exit, so what happened last year would not be happening this year. I'd be very surprised now if we do see any cars ending up in that barrier at the final corner. There are also rules in place to prevent cars coasting around slowly, preserving their tyres on out and in laps, with minimum lap times again being put into force by the FIA. This is something that we saw last year and it proved more effective than nothing, but traffic is still definitely going to be an issue. Ferraris Speed. Despite being the first team to claim a 1-2 this season, Ferrari are still very unsure about the reliability of their engine in higher modes. This means that in Bahrain they were running in much more conservative modes than they will be in the coming weeks. The current plan for the Scuderia is to slowly increase the engine modes and see what effects these changes have on performance and reliability. Realistically, Ferrari could turn up and completely overturn what did seem to be a slight engine disadvantage to Red Bull at times during the weekend at Bahrain. But it is rumoured that overall the Ferrari power unit is actually 3 or 4 tenths faster than Honda's and obviously therefore Red Bull's. But in Bahrain, they sacrificed the advantage to bolt on more downforce to the car, which would absolutely explain why they were so strong through the corners and only lost a small amount on the straights. More downforce equals more speed through the corners, but unfortunately, higher drag down the straights. Now at this point I want some of your feedback. Let me know down in the comments whether you think Ferrari's advantage can actually be overturned this year. It's going to be a massive year in the development arms race between the teams. Let me know who you think's going to come out on top. And also while you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out and it is completely free and you can always change your mind later. McLaren. Oh dear McLaren. Bahrain was not a great weekend for McLaren fans, like myself. It was a poor qualifying and an even poorer race, with strange strategies leaving both drivers stranded at the back of the grid for large chunks of the race, and they're currently sitting P9 in the constructors' standings, only ahead of Red Bull, who failed to finish, of course, with both cars, but we'll get onto them in a second. They were also unable to really show any glimpses of real pace at any point during the weekend. Over the coming weeks, we will see whether or not this lack in pace is a fundamental issue that they may have just underdeveloped or gone down the wrong design route in this generation of cars, or potentially some of the vital temps they need was lost through the lack of running at Bahrain compared to other teams during pre-season testing, due to needing new brake cooling ducts, which themselves being a much larger size than originally designed, will throw off the aero of the car. This is an important race for McLaren as they've had an extra week to try and understand the car more, but also come in on much more level pegging in terms of track time with other teams at the circuit. And the last thing to look out for this weekend is the Red Bull and Honda reliability. Now, there's a reason I didn't make a video covering this midweek, along with just genuinely being busy. But we've seen a lot of conflicting reports on what actually went wrong with Gasly, Verstappen, and Perez in the latter half of the season opener. For Gasly, it was an issue with the battery. He said, quote, "We had a problem with the battery, the whole car switched off. I'd like to tell you it's all sorted, but the reality is it takes a lot of time to fix." And that he, quote, "cannot 100% guarantee it won't happen again." And yep, that's pretty concerning for AlphaTauri and Gasly fans to hear. The truth is, in such a short turnover from Bahrain, a lot of the issues we've seen in testing and round one just simply cannot be resolved in time for this weekend in Saudi. As for Max and Checo, Helmut Marko seems to have finally clarified just what went wrong in that very dramatic ending last week. He said, quote, "To put it simply, a vacuum in the fuel supply system caused the engine to run out of fuel. I think we can solve this problem in Saudi Arabia over the weekend." So that would absolutely indicate this isn't something they've actually resolved yet, and it's very much an ongoing issue because, like I say, they just simply haven't had the time to work on these parts and come up with solutions. Obviously, they'll have a much better grasp of what went wrong and potentially how to avoid it happening again, but the fundamental issue itself, yeah, that's going to be a hard one to fix. And for full disclosure, over the course of this week, that is the 4th separate reason I have read being given for that disastrous ending for the team. So who knows, that could have changed again by the time this video actually goes out. Today, I will give a couple of extra bonus events to look out for, probably more in the next 2 weeks before the Australian Grand Prix, rather than actually over the course of this weekend. It appears Carlos Sainz is close to agreeing a contract extension with Ferrari until the end of the 2024 season, which of course will see him remain alongside Leclerc, who himself is and will continue to be locked into long-term contracts with the Scuderia. Well, that's assuming that nothing too disastrous happens between the two in the coming years. We are also expecting that, at some point, the Las Vegas Grand Prix will be announced in a move that will see us edge ever closer to that 25-race season that Martin Brundle has recently described as something that F1 are relentlessly marching towards. Definitely let me know what you think about that one in the comments. Is 25 races too much, or are you a fan? Another question would be, are you happy with us adding a 3rd race in the US, especially if it's likely to be a street circuit at Las Vegas? So, first off, I hope you all enjoy the race weekend. I will try to finally get some live chat in post-race, especially if there is any controversy for us to, let's say, wait for the resolution of at the steward's office. But, like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe as we are so close to 10k subs now. And to hit that would be absolutely unreal. We were only on 100 subscribers in November last year, which is just absolutely mind-blowing. I love you all. Also, while you're down there, don't forget to give that notification bell a ding as well. Are you ready? Do it with me, okay? 3, 2, 1, ding. Okay, I'm never doing that again. This way you'll get notified whenever we're about to go live, but also for any updates in the world of Formula 1. But, as ever, until next time, goodbye.